today, we've got Ariel Helwani calling out Jon Jones, Luke Thomas breaking down a potential war between Sandhagen and Merab, and updates on everyone from Arman Tsarukyan to Kayla Harrison. Strap in, we're diving deep into the fight game's biggest headlines. Let's get into it. Arman Tsarukyan is reportedly dealing with legal troubles back in Russia that could land him in hot water. According to local reports, Tsarukyan owes around $1,100 in unpaid taxes to Russia's Federal Tax Service. While the amount is nowhere near as serious as the $3 million tax case that Khabib Nurmagomedov faced last year, it's still enough to draw the government's attention. Authorities have reportedly flagged Tsarukyan's assets, including a property management firm in Russia, a Miami apartment, a US-based gym, and high-end cars like a Mercedes G-Wagon and a Lamborghini Urus. Much of Arman's wealth stems from his father's successful construction business, so while the situation might not escalate to the level Khabib dealt with, which involved raids and fleeing the country, it still raises questions about financial management and public image. As of now, details are limited, but tax issues like this have a way of growing if they're not handled properly. This story is definitely one to watch. Ariel Helwani didn't hold back this week as he went off on Jon Jones, calling him out for dodging a showdown with Tom Aspinall and embarrassing himself with his constant Twitter outbursts. Helwani went as far as to say, "There's no other GOAT in major sports who's ended their career like this." He criticized Jones for ducking the biggest threat in his division rather than sealing his legacy by facing the top contender. Instead of passing the torch, Helwani claims Jones is avoiding the fire. And fans are noticing. Helwani compared Jones's current behavior to legends in other sports, saying true greats like Jordan, Brady, and Ali faced the challenge head-on during their final chapters, not ran from it. But Ariel didn't stop at criticism. He brought receipts. According to him, the UFC did offer Jon Jones the money he'd been demanding to take the Aspinall fight. Initially, Jones agreed, but then he backed out. Even after that, UFC execs kept trying to get the fight booked, but Jones wouldn't commit. Helwani clarified, "It's not that Jones isn't interested in fighting anymore. He's simply not interested in fighting Tom Aspinall. That specific matchup is what he's avoiding, and that's what's disappointing so many fans and analysts. Jones may think he's winning the social media game with his tweets, but Helwani says it's doing real damage to his legacy. He's not cooking anyone," Ariel said. "He's cooking his own career." He challenged fans to name any other all-time great who bowed out this way. Where's the example of a champion who refused to pay it forward? Jones clearly doesn't want anything to do with Tom. MMA analyst Luke Thomas recently shared his thoughts on a possible showdown between Cory Sandhagen and Merab Dvalishvili, and he believes it could be a lot tougher for Merab than people expect. According to Luke, Sandhagen's slick leg lock game could present real problems for Merab, especially if he leaves himself open like he did during his aggressive performance at UFC 316. Against Sean O'Malley, that risky style paid off. But Sandhagen's ground game is much more advanced. Luke pointed to Cory's recent dismantling of Deiveson Figueiredo as proof of how sharp his jiu-jitsu really is. His control, transitions, and ability to force scrambles make him a serious threat if Merab isn't airtight with his grappling. That said, Merab's cardio and pressure-heavy style can break opponents down, and unless Sandhagen finds a way to shut that down early, he could get overwhelmed. With Merab having already beaten most of the division's elite, this fight promises high stakes and serious fireworks. Luke also raised a key technical question. When Cory gets taken down into open space and ends up in full guard, can he work his way out? That's been an issue in past fights. But if he finds the right angle or catches a leg, things could change in an instant. Former bantamweight champ Aljamain Sterling recently shared his thoughts on Sean O'Malley's future following his recent loss to Merab Dvalishvili. Sterling doesn't believe the UFC will hand O'Malley any more favorable matchups. Instead, Shiga may have to go through killers like Mario Bautista, Kyler Phillips, Umar Nurmagomedov, or even Peter Yan again to climb back into title contention. He acknowledged O'Malley's skills, but said the bantamweight division is a shark tank. And that stylistically, guys like Bautista pose real problems for him. Sterling floated Song Yadong as a potential next opponent, someone who could test O'Malley's hunger to return to the top. Interestingly, Sterling also pointed out that a few matchups could still benefit O'Malley, such as Patchy Mix, whose struggle with Bautista's boxing at UFC 316 exposed potential weaknesses. With Sean no longer holding the belt, he's hinted at possibly moving up to featherweight. That transition could open up a new chapter for him, giving him fresh opponents opponents and allowing his long frame and elite striking to shine. But the featherweight division features tough wrestlers like Movsar Evloev and explosive punchers like Diego Lopez, which could pose serious problems. A fight between O'Malley and Yair Rodriguez. Now that would be fireworks. His size and sniper-like striking could make him a contender, but the tests ahead will be far tougher than anything he's faced at bantamweight. Kayla Harrison recently reflected on her experience training with Amanda Nunes, the former UFC double champion. For much of her career, Nunes trained out of American Top Team in Coconut Creek, Florida. That changed when she opened her own private facility, largely because she anticipated a potential clash with Harrison down the line. Before that rivalry ever materialized, however, the two actually shared the mats. Back when Harrison was still scouting for a permanent training home, she visited several gyms across the country. One of her stops was American Top Team, where she had the chance to spar with Nunes. Speaking on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, Harrison looked back on that moment. "I was gym hopping, Jersey, Vegas, everywhere. Then I came to Florida and ended up sparring Amanda on my second day there. She kicked my butt. We only made it through 2 rounds, and I remember thinking, this is the best fighter in the world. If I want to reach that level, this is where I need to be." And I'd only been training for a few months at the time. Harrison also shared a glimpse into the grueling process of making 135 pounds, posting a photo from a weight-cutting sauna session. She detailed her strict regimen. "I stick to a meal plan, only eating what my chef prepares. If I get strong cravings, I'll let myself have a spoonful of peanut butter. I think I did that maybe 3 times during camp. 14 weeks out, I start walking every day, 6 miles daily. I also do 2-hour bike rides or swim for 90 minutes on Sundays, usually walking 8 miles that day too, and that's in addition to 2 daily training sessions."
Is it possible, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Is it possible that you go and fight Tyson Fury and then the UFC comes back to you and says, "Listen, let's make this right and let's fight Jon Jones"? Is that possible?
It's possible, but no, it's possible. It's possible, but they have to go to the PFL now.
Oh, because does the PFL have a contract signed?
Yeah.
You did sign a contract?
Yeah, I did sign. I said
Okay.
in March. It wasn't signed.
Right.
I signed in May.
Do you think the PFL would allow that?
Oh, the PFL is down for that.
Really?
Yeah, it's down for that.
Wow.
The PFL is
So
down
the
for that.
PFL would let you fight in the UFC. But what happens if you beat Jon Jones, you become the UFC heavyweight champion again? That's a problem.
I don't know. Maybe he'll be a special fight, a special belt or something.
Yeah.
Maybe not like the UFC belt. I don't know.
Yeah, the UFC
But
probably
I
would
have-
not be down for that. Like,
Yeah.
you win the title and then go fight in the PFL. That would be a
No,
problem. Yeah.
no.
That's a wrap for today's breakdown, but the fight game never sleeps. If you're riding with House of MMA, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a beat. Drop your takes in the comments. Should Jones fight Aspinall? Is O'Malley done at bantamweight? Let's talk about it. Until next time, stay sharp, stay savage. This is House of MMA.